In this video we're going to take a look at some 4 useful article writing tips for beginners, and actually even if you've been writing articles for a while you might well find them useful as well. But especially if you're new to article marketing, and whether that's writing articles for sites like Easy Articles, or for your own blog, or a mixture of those, or even a document sharing site like Script or DocStock, it can be hard to know where to begin, and there are conflicting views on everything in article marketing, just like there are conflicting views on everything else. For instance, both teams playing the Super Bowl can't win, but that doesn't stop that both sides' supporters thinking they're right. And start by picking a topic, and although that sounds obvious, it's not always as easy as it sounds. Your topic, okay, you've got a broad topic for your blog or your site or whatever, but the topic for an article should be narrow enough that you're not competing with millions of other pages, whilst broad enough to attract at least some readers, and some doesn't have to be many, because if you go quite narrow, what'll happen is that you'll rank for all sorts of weird and wonderful terms that are related to your article, and Google thinks are good enough to rank for that because no one else is competing either. But you'll need to know your main topic area, otherwise you really don't have any business writing about that chosen niche, so I'm going to assume that you do actually know what you're talking about. Then drill down on your chosen topic to come up with a title that generates interest and clicks. And this one was, as you saw, 4 useful article writing tips, and that's fine. It does what it says on the tin. A quantity of tips like that is a good start if you're stuck, and it almost always goes down well. Just look at any magazine in any, well, pretty much anywhere, and you'll see most of them have tips and numbers and things on the cover, so it works. Then decide on the subtopics you'll cover within the article, and the number of bullet points on each page of this each part of this video are a good way of doing that. So number 2, whatever else it happens to be. The good news is when you write articles this way, it's a relatively easy task to finish the final article based on the subtopics you've decided on. And it doesn't take very long to actually come up with the subtopics. Then all you do is flesh out your topic titles. So literally I wrote flesh out your subtopic titles, and then I wrote it's really that easy. Simply flesh out each subtopic so you've covered what it promises, in much the same way as you'd write an email to a friend or chat to them over a coffee. It really isn't complicated, 100 or so words, and if we just highlight that in Word, which is what this is written in, and just check the word count, 110 words there. So it's not daunting, is it, because they're short paragraphs. But 100 or so words covers. If you need more than about double that, maybe consider splitting the topic, because it just works better that way. And if it's a bit less, don't panic. If your final article is a bit too short, put an introduction and a conclusion. Just call them something more imaginative than that. Or expand on 1 or 2 of the topics so you can add another subtopic, or add another subtopic. On this I could have just written a bit more as I've spoken, and it would work quite nicely. So it's easy enough to do that. As you can see, I've gone onto another page on this. So on your own blog, I'd go for a minimum word count of around about 300 words, ideally more. On an article site like Easy Articles, the minimum word count varies over time. It goes up. Back when I first started it was 250 words, then it moved up to 300. Nowadays it's at least 400, but they give you a longer anchor text. That's the bit that's blue underlined, so that could be longer anchor text for the links in your bio when you go over 500 words, which pretty much tells you what they'd prefer you to write. 500 plus, in case you're doubting. And of course, if you're reading this a few years' time, or watching this a few years' time after I've produced it, that range may well have changed. It seems to go upward over time, and it's important to keep up to speed with that. Other sites, including places that you might put a guest blog, have their own rules, and you just need to check those as well. And the 4th and possibly most important tip is keep at it, because like almost everything, practice helps a lot. And if you're like most people, your first few articles will seem like you've just written a whole book, even though it's only a page. As time goes by, you'll get better at it, you'll be able to type a bit faster, and the words will just flow from your head straight onto the screen as if really by magic. But you won't know that until you actually start creating your first articles. So make a start, and then maybe make yourself a promise that over the next month or so you'll write at least 1 article each and every day. And that will do a couple of things. It'll help it become a habit, because it's reckoned if you do things regularly for more than about 2 to 4 weeks, they become a habit. Secondly, you'll just find it's a lot easier than you first thought, and it really is easier. And you'll get faster and more efficient. And finally, if you'd like more help with your article writing, check out my blog post that's linked below this video on more fast article writing tips. Thanks for watching.